Thanks to EA for inviting me to the Season 24 preview event. Here are all the pro tips and knowledge I figured out about the new Ashe dash passive in the limited time we had with playing her. Jumping mid-air will let her dash. This dash is restricted to pretty much horizontal movement. You do not go where you look, like with the Revenant pounce, so you can't go up or down. If you dash without a movement input, you will dash into the direction you were already going, but you can use direction inputs to change the direction of your dash. This lets you dash around corners, back into cover, and so much more that I'll show in the rest of the video. The dash seems to stack with other momentum and has no hard velocity cap in place. So doing it out of a slide jump is better than doing it out of a standstill, and doing it after a double jump will also keep adding velocity. But not as much. I'm not entirely sure about the formula yet. The dash is very sensitive, even more sensitive than Valkyrie's passive. So while you can bunny hop with scroll wheel on Valkyrie, on Ashe that's pretty much impossible if you don't limit yourself to a single scroll and are very careful about only jumping on the ground. And even during movement like super glides it can trigger accidentally, which just uses a single jump input. So it's kinda dope during super jumps, but can be annoying during other movement tech, cause you don't have full control over it. Like out of mantle jumps. The most common method to cancel a mantle in a mantle jump is with a backwards input. However, as we learned, that will also let you dash backwards. So my mantle jumps on Ashe currently look like this, sending me in the wrong direction. Either you will have to practice to let go of backwards early enough to not trigger the dash, or will have to do mantle jumps with a crouch input when doing them on Ashe. Which is a bit frustrating, since I can also easily mantle jump on Valkyrie with a backwards input, and I'm kinda terrible when doing it with a crouch. However, the developers confirmed in a later answer that they want to give us a separate dash bind, and are aiming to patch it in during the season. You can lurch and tap strafe out of the dash. After looking at this clip again, I'm not 100% sure if it's just the lurch window from the initial jump on the ground, like with the Revenant pounce tap strafe, or if the dash itself also opens the lurch window. I don't think this will be the case, but we'll have to wait for the full release to test this out. During this build of the game we got to test, the recent lurch nerf was still active in it. So forgive me if I can't show off the most ridiculous tap strafes out of a dash, or if my lurches after super glides and around wall bounces look a bit janky. The developers did confirm that this was just a leftover from development, and this lurch nerf will not go live with Season 24. The dash also seems to store jump fatigue, so jumping into the air and dashing will let you fatigue bounce right after. The dash does not reset your climb height like Revenant's pounce does. The dash recharges in just 5 seconds, which feels very powerful. This easily lets you use it multiple times during a gunfight and even multiple times during a single movement sequence. And maybe one of the strongest aspects of the dash, you have your weapon out the whole time. You can dash before, after and during shooting. And that's not all. As an upgrade, she gets a second dash. You can only dash once mid-air though, so you have to touch ground in between to dash again. Ziplines also seem to reset it. I cannot wait to see what all the movement crackheads will do with these 2 dash charges. I will make sure to make a new Ashe entry and include everything we find in the next few weeks into the Apex Movement Wiki we recently launched. Available on apexmovement.tech. Another thing that was buffed about Ashe is her ultimate. The range was increased from 75 to 100 meters. You also travel faster through it. And as an upgrade, she gets 2 portal charges. Yes, you can portal back to back, or away and back into a fight. Ashe is giga strong now. But we're still not done, because she's also an assault legend, and those got class-wide upgrades. All stowed away weapons will auto-reload after just 2 seconds. Basically, gold magazine on crack. Available all the time, on all magazines, on all weapons. Assault Legends will now have 2 extra backpack slots, specifically for grenades. And their third perk, Battle Surge. This activates whenever you crack an enemy's shield. This will give them fast reloads and a 40% speed boost. All other generic speed boosts, like the speed boosting pads from Maggie's ultimate or low burst boost after teleporting, are only 30%. And it's a 40% speed boost to sprinting and walking. Stim, for example, is a 40% speed boost while sprinting, but only 30% while walking. This is very important for one specific reason. The speed boost you get from sliding gets calculated based on walk speed, which also affects super glides. Assault Legends now have the fastest slide jump and super glides where you can have your weapon out. Even faster than Wraith Q super glide. Wraith still beats that with the 3rd and 4th speed boost in her portal, but when it comes to mid-fight slide jumps and super glides, these are now the strongest in the 6-year history of Apex. And Octane's jump pad got an upgrade, so that the double jump is much stronger. I can't tell you the exact velocity numbers since we don't have access to vertical and horizontal velocities independently, but here's a comparison of how much further you end up on the old jump pad and the new one. There might be even more movement changes. We don't have access to the full patch notes yet. If there is something significant, I'll definitely cover them in another video.